Mike, there's a rule for football fans. Don't fall in love with a player on loan. Have you broken that rule already?
Absolutely, 100%. It was broken the first time I seen him with the Everton top on, and
when,
when them
when, when,
calves come out, that was it. I was done. I was done.
I was about to say, when you signed him, what were your expectations of Grealish?
Um, it was a difficult one because obviously you think back to the Villa time, don't you? And he was just, he dragged that team almost single handedly and kept them in the Premier League. Then he went to City, obviously won the treble, and then since then it's fallen off a little bit. So your sort of recency bias is a little bit, oh, what we getting? But then you think about it logically, and you think, no, there's a player that instantly comes in and is our best player. And that's exactly what's happened. He's come in and he's instantly our best player, comfortably our best player. Um, so I was excited, but the only little concern I had was just an injury record. Like I know he's susceptible to a few injuries. So touch wood, as long as he can stay fit. I think we've got ourselves a decent little signing for the season.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Is it an option to buy you've got for 50 million?
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
The idea of spending 50 million on a player that will be 31 this time next year feels chunky. Are you still hoping that Grealish will be an Everton player next season? Are you prepared? Would you be willing to spend 50 million on him? Or are you hoping there's a bit of negotiation there for Everton and Man City? You might get him for 30 or something.
I think that's probably more the case. I think I'm hopeful that he will be a player next season, 100%, obviously. But the reality is, I can't see Everton spending 50 million on a 31-year-old, like you say. And with the wages that he carries as well, obviously, it's too lumpy. Despite obviously what he's done already. So I could see something potentially getting negotiated. But what's good is that we've got that in the back pocket. And look, the season's a long season. He started well. We're only a few games in. There's a long time to go, and it just feels like a typical Moyes signing, though. Someone that he's going to resurrect the career and have a look at them and get a real feel for them about the place first and foremost, and that feels similar to like when he signed like Arteta and Pienaar and those type of signings where he had them on loan first and had a real good look at them. And so yeah, look, I think a deal would be done if everyone's wants, if Grealish wants to stay at Everton and Everton want Grealish, I think a deal would be negotiated with City, I would imagine.
Yeah, fantastic player. He's someone I quite like. I think he always comes across. I know he's been a naughty boy a few times, but generally speaking, small things. If Man City were coming out the tunnel and it's raining, he's the first player to take his tracksuit top off and put it on the kid and stuff. He does a lot of good work because of his sibling and stuff like that. So I think I've always had a bit of a soft spot for him, and it's been like bit of a shame to see him fade away at Man City the way he has a little bit. And I was hoping going to Everton with Moyes, I was thinking, please, I hope this move works out for him. And I was a big fan of the transfer in general, but to see him start the way he has, he's fun to watch. He's one of those players that even as a neutral, you're watching Everton, you're thinking, oh, get the ball out to Grealish, will you? Because I'm enjoying watching him play football. So you've got a diamond on your hands for at least a season, a £50 million diamond nonetheless, but you've got a diamond on your hand for a little while.
Yeah,
In regards to the rest of the transfer window, I mean, you were quite busy. Were you happy with everything, or did you think that you still needed a little bit more business?
it's one of those. Is a football fan ever truly satisfied in the transfer window? Look, we've had a good window. There's still a couple of gaping holes for us, in particular for me personally. Full back position on both sides were very, very light. And with the inverted wingers, with Njai on one side and Grealish on the other, it's glaringly obvious because they need that overlap. So for me, that was the biggest thing. I think if we could have got a couple of players in those areas, don't get me wrong, a more seasoned striker would be ideal, and another centre midfield player, blah blah blah. But for the functionality of the team, I think we're just lacking a little bit on the full back position. If we'd have got in, starting right back, someone to to progress with, then I'd probably have gone, yeah, really, really good, solid window. But that aside, look, the signings we brought in, a lot of them are sort of not typical Everton type signings of recent. It feels like obviously the new ownership coming in December. January was not like obviously it's never really a busy transfer window, so this felt like the first one to see what they did. They put the money where their mouth is. They spent 140 million in transfer fees, not brought anything back in because we just had players leaving at the end of the contracts. But we bought players predominantly for the future. So that's the way up where you go. They feel like good signings, but only time will tell with a lot of them.
In regards to your season so far, what are you making of it? I know it's early days, but are you happy with what you've seen?
Yeah, so it's mad, isn't it, how quickly things can change in football. So if you'd have asked me if we'd have done this a week ago, I'd have been, absolutely made up, delighted, blah, blah, blah. But in that week, we've just had a few little wobbles. The draw against Aston Villa was disappointing at home. Not to draw with Aston Villa's no disrespect to Aston Villa, they're a very good side, but on the day they were a very poor team, and they were there to be had, and we just couldn't get the ball. I mean, we played well, we just couldn't get the ball over the line. So you sort of leave with a little bit of what could have been. Then you go into the Merseyside derby, obviously away at Anfield. We never get anything there. First half, I thought we were miles off the pace. Second half, we looked like what we have done for the rest of the season, when we go give a good account of ourselves. But again, you come away empty-handed, and then we go into the Carabao Cup. Now, for us as fans, that it's a massive competition for us. We haven't won anything for 31 years now, and we haven't got European football. We don't play, obviously, you guys till Monday, so we had a 6-day gap, and he made 7 changes, and I just couldn't fathom the reason why. And then we went out to a Wolves team that haven't picked up a win all season in the league. I know obviously they had was it you that beat the round before?
Yeah.
Sorry. So, but we're on
right.
Well, we're both on that one now. So so it's really, really disappointing, because if I'm being honest, it's something that I think Everton should take very, very seriously. The manager spoke really well about it, as if we were going to be taking it seriously, and the players all come out and we're going to taking it really seriously, and then the lineup comes out and goes, we're not taking it very seriously. So that was a big frustration. So it's put a lot of pressure on the game on Monday, if I'm being honest, because he's we've gone 3 games now without a win. We've 2 of those games we haven't scored. So it's a case of we really need to knuckle down now and get we've got you and Palace before the international break, and I think the pressure's on to get a couple of wins. So
yeah, I was surprised at the team that he put out on Tuesday. I seen the lineup come out, and obviously Wolves made some changes as well.
But to be fair, they need to make them, because they're not full, are they?
I didn't watch the game, but it looked like, going by the personnel that Wolves had, it looked like they possibly even switched a back 4 as well. So did they play a back 4, Wolves?
I can't even remember, but they had 9 changes, Wolves.
Yeah.
But like I say, they're changing a team that are not performing, and we're changing a team that is performing. So I was really surprised. I mean, for me, the standard bearer of whether you're taking something seriously is whether Pickford's in goal or not. And he wasn't even on the bench. And for me, that was just like, no, I don't see why we need to be doing that. I think we could have, we went there earlier in the season, although it was only 3-2. It was a really, really good performance by Everton, and it could have been a 5-6-0 game. Really, it really flattered Wolves. The score, Everton were excellent, and you just think if we'd gone there with the full team started, we probably could have dragged them off, half the team off after an hour. You can take five off, and done it that way round, and that would have made more sense. We would have had a bit more optimism. The derby and the Villa thing would have been put in the past. We'd be going into Monday a lot more positive. Yet now it's just a bit okay. We really need to see reaction Monday.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few Everton fans a bit frustrated with the lineup, and I think there was one line in particular which I liked. It said, if we don't beat West Ham on Monday, this goes from a really good start to a really average start to the season, just like that, because of the Carabao Cup. And I think a lot of people were frustrated because of, you've had Moyes before at Everton, and it was like, this is why we weren't keen on him in the first time round, because he didn't necessarily take the cups that serious, and it was all about staying in the Premier League. I do wonder, if I may defend Moyes for a minute, we've seen at West Ham, we've seen some cup games where the lineups come out and we've gone, why have you made so many changes? Could you not have taken it a bit more serious and stuff like that? I remember when he first came in, I think it was the League Cup quarter-final against Arsenal, perhaps. And he made a lot of changes, and we played like Arsenal reserves as well. And we got beat. And then with the next league game, I remember being Newcastle. And it's like, right, well, you better win this one then to justify. And we got beat anyway. And it was like, well, what was the point then? You've rested the players and got beat. So what was the point? There was no benefit to throwing the cup tie per se. The one thing I might say about Moyes and Everton this season is that you've got like an outside chance of getting a European spot. You know, if it goes in your favour and it comes down to 7th or 8th in the league again, do I think you'll finish there? Maybe not quite that high, but I don't think you'll be a million miles off it. But I do wonder if Moyes is thinking we've got a chance of getting 7th, and then that might be European football, and that's maybe the ambition. But I understand the fans' frustrations. Big summer for you, not just in the transfer window, but the move to the new stadium. How's that working out for you? You happy?
Oh, honestly, and I know talking to West Ham fans and so I do.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be pulling their headphones out for this bit. But go on, give us it.
We've got it absolutely spot on. Honestly, the best thing I can say is people aren't. There's no one's missing Goodison Park. So that's the best thing I can say. Is there was a lot of trepidation from a lot of fans, not necessarily from me. I felt ready for the move. Goodison felt tired. I'd sort of bit browbeaten as well. The last few years, our home record wasn't great, and the football under Dice wasn't particularly enjoyable. So I was ready for the move myself personally, but a lot of fans weren't and were sad to go. I haven't heard anything negative from the football side of it. Look, the concourse and this side of it, you know, there's a lot of queuing and different things to be done there. But in terms of the actual arena to watch the game, the location of it couldn't be any better. It's absolutely superb. It feels like a modern Goodison Park. I can't really describe it. Hopefully, you know, when you away fans come, it'll be interesting to see what they think, because you know there's a lot of like new grounds and their arenas. This feels like a new football ground, not an arena. If you get me, so
yeah, 100%.
What you want, I would say, you know, you look at Tottenham Stadium and it's probably a better stadium per se, but in terms of just a football arena and wanting to go to the game, and it's absolutely superb, and the acoustics on it. You know, you hear all this stuff in the build about we've got a specialist architect for the acoustics and this and that, and you're thinking, oh yeah, okay. Honestly, they've got it absolutely spot on, and it's superb, and yeah, the best way of describing it for me is that no one's missing Goodison Park. Which is
that is the biggest compliment you could give it, to be honest with you. I think that is the biggest compliment. In regards to the rest of the season, then, Mike, what's your hopes?
I think you hit the nail on the head. To be honest, I think I would like to sort of be in and around challenging for the European place. Not necessarily. I think I agree. I think we're a little bit short squad depth wise to probably get that position, but I would like to be sort of in and around it, where we're in that conversation for most of the season. Which again sort of leads on to the disappointment of the Carabao Cup, and I think that's where it comes from, is that we all feel like we're probably safe, but we've probably ain't quite got the squad to get Europe. So we could have took that seriously. So that's sort of probably why. But yeah, I would say, you know, I really want to see it. If we don't get a top half finish, I think we've underachieved with the squad we've assembled. And I'd like I say, I'd like to be in the conversation in and around the European spaces, hopefully towards the last few weeks. And anything above that would be a massive overachievement in my opinion.
I think that's fair. I think that's very fair, and I think it's quite realistic as well. Right, from your team to my team, what do you make of West Ham?
I mean, it's sliding doors moments, isn't it? Because you know we were linked with Potter at the time when you got him, and it just wasn't for me, and certainly for Everton and the way our fans. Well, you know, we probably demand too much, you know, from where we are currently and whatnot, and I just sort of, and I don't mean this, and this is going to sound really bad and a bit derogatory, but West Ham at the minute, everything. I'm just so glad Everton aren't. Like in terms of the ground, I look at the ground and you all look just depressed with it. You know, the managing and the style of football, just everything. I just don't want to go and watch. And you just look so disjointed, and I don't know. It just seems like you need something just to bring everything together. It's not like you haven't got some good players. There's some really good footballers in that squad, but there's something really missing, and I don't know what that is. But from an outside looking in, it's strange because I've always liked West Ham. I think there's a good synergy between West Ham in terms of the type of fan bases and the type of clubs that we are, and it's just disappointing to see, but I can't quite put my finger on it. So it'd be interesting to see what your take is.
I think there's more than one thing, Mike. I think that's the problem. If there was one fix, I know people watching us say, well, the board sell the club, and that may be the fix. But that's not something you can do overnight. That's not something we can just click our fingers and everything improves tomorrow. But in terms of improving something immediately, I don't think there's one thing. You know, we can change the manager, but the big issues at the club still exist. We could even sell the club, but the issues with the stadium still exist. So no matter what you do, there's still issues, and it's not small things either. It's not like, oh, the stadium's not perfect. Needs do you know what you're saying about Bamamura? You're saying, well, it's not, the concourse needs a little bit of looking at, and maybe the infrastructure regarding the transport isn't quite where it should be. But that's stuff you can improve, and it's maybe perhaps not that impactful in terms of your match day experience for that 90 minutes. After the game, yeah, you might be, oh, come on, fix this out. But during the game, you can still enjoy your game of football. But with West Ham, it's not like we can go, oh, well, we'll change the manager, we'll start playing good football. Brilliant. The stadium's still the stadium. So there's a lot of issues at the club right now. And I think sometimes parts of that can be going okay. So when we were doing well under Moyes, the footballing side of it was fine. The stadium was still an issue. It's just that COVID existed, so no one was going. So it wasn't really a topic of conversation. The board was still the board, but it was just a bit easier to ignore when we were doing all right. And actually, they weren't annoying us as much as they were and stuff like that. So, yeah, I don't think there's one quick fix. And I think that's the sad and worrying thing, that we could change 2 or 3 big things. And it's and also I think a lot of it undermines the other parts. So you could go get the right manager in, but they've still got that board who are probably going to make it difficult for that manager to do well at the football club. So you could go appoint the right guy, but there's still going to be something impacting that person from performing at his best. He can't perform at his best at this club. And I think that's the worrying thing. In regards to the guy we currently do have, I know you've just said you're not a fan of him, Graham Potter. Are you surprised he's still here for this game? Were you expecting to come up against the West Ham with a new manager?
No, I'm not completely surprised, because it's still early. And I think, you know, if you've made an investment in a manager, and you know, I think it'd be a real knee-jerk reaction at this stage. I would, you know, after 10 games, I think if you're looking and you're in a similar position, that's probably when I'd expect, you know, a team like West Ham to look to make a change. I think it would just be a little bit too knee-jerk reaction at this point. But again, obviously I'm not living it, so I'm sure that there's fans there screaming, and I get it.
They'll tell you it's not 5 games, it's 25 games. If we go back to January, we weren't very good in the second half of last season either. So I think that would be my comeback as well.
But with Potter, it was always like, when he was linked with us, I never wanted them mid-season, because you have this idea of him that he needs them in a pre-season to embed his style of play and blah blah blah, and that's where I never really wanted them in season. So I've sort of gone, well, he's had that pre-season with you now. Obviously he's had the, you know, the end of last season as well. So to give him the optimum chance of succeeding now, like I say, I would have thought maybe 10 games in. But look, obviously that's an outsider, and no doubt, you know, like I say, I'd be screaming for something different if it was happening at my club. Am I glad he's there on Monday? Yes, I'll be honest. I am, because, you know, I think, like I said to you, I think there's a good group of footballers there that to at least, you know, put a team functioning together in the Premier League that would be comfortable in it. So so right at the minute, I think it's I'm happy. I'm happy he's there for Monday, and then after that, obviously, I hope you guys sort everything out.
In terms of the long term for West Ham, then, well, I say long term, I mean the rest of the season. At the minute, we're sitting in that bottom 3. Do you see us going down?
No, I mean, and again, I know it's easy as another fan, and we had it over the last few years where people will be like, "Oh, Everton aren't going," and you're in the midst of it going, "Oh no, we could go down." Sometimes it is when you objectively look at you won't, for the reasons of you've got the opportunity to change the manager if needs be, and it'd be a very good job for someone to take. Great fan base. Albeit the stadium's not what you want, but in terms of capacity wise, good. It's a good club to take on for someone. So from that side of it, I think there's no. I can't see it, and like you say, there's enough quality in the squad. And I would say there's a few teams in the Premier League that are looking a lot worse than you guys at the minute as well in terms of squad wise. So I think you'll be all right. I think you'll probably finish, 13th, 14th, something along those lines.
Well, I hope you're right. I would take that right now. In terms of Monday night, then, how do you see the game going?
I think there's going to be a big reaction from Everton. Moyes doesn't normally go too many games without getting a reaction out the team. So I think we'll be on the front foot. And if we can get a goal early, I think we'll win comfortably. But for us at the minute, scoring goals is an issue. Beto and Barry, neither of them are the finished article for different stages of their career. But Beto's just quite raw as a player. And Barry's obviously new and young to the league. And Moyes is so undecided on which one he wants to work with. I would say as well with Moyes is probably one of his failings when you look back at his career. He struggled with strikers. He's never really got the most out of strikers or found good strikers. He's worked quite difficult with it. Obviously, I think he put Antonio up front for you guys, and then Jared Bowen, but he can't really work with proper strikers. It's strange. He finds it difficult. So at the minute, we're struggling with that. But obviously, there's goals in Ndiaye, Dewsbury Hall. Although Grealish hasn't scored yet, but he's obviously a constant goal threat. So there's goals in and around the rest of the team. So I think if we get an early goal, I think we win comfortably. If we don't, I think it could get a bit tetchy. So from your side of it, I think if you can keep us out for 20, 25 minutes, I think you'll find that the crowd will get a little bit tetchy because, like you say, this half decent start we've had will suddenly become, oh, hang on, we're going to be in the bottom half of the table and we're at the Carabao Cup and it's not even October yet. So it's on that sort of precipice for us.
Crystal ball time, please. Score prediction. What are you going for?
Going to go 2-1 Everton. 2-1 Everton.
Well, Mike, thank you. It's a pleasure, as always. Best of luck for the rest of the season. We'll catch up with you before the return fixture. But you guys at home have enjoyed the video. Please do drop a like on it by clicking thumbs up. Subscribe to Hammer's Chat. And myself and Mike, catch you in a bit.